Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to Pathologic. Last time we found out there's a bunch of letters we have to read. I'm just gonna read them all out loud here today, or as many as we can get through in the time we have. Yeah. So and I'm gonna do it like in a session here, because I don't want it to take up in-game time. I don't know how that works, but alright, day 1. Letter from the powers that be. Bachelor Didenkovsky. By what seems to be a very lucky coincidence, you have found yourself in a town that is wrought by some worrying occurrences. Reportedly, there's an outbreak of dangerous disease in the vicinity. There is also an opinion that the outbreak is a falsification staged deliberately for the purpose of concealing a murder. That's not true. In consideration of your outstanding analytical capability, we delegate the investigation to you. If there is an epidemic, it must be halted by any means necessary. Sorry. You should collect as much information as you can, we suppose, and then make a decision in line with your own professional ethics and moral beliefs. In order to implement your strategy, an inquisitor endowed with unrestricted authority will shortly arrive to join you. It took a few days. In the event you are unable to curb the outbreak before their arrival, all power over the situation will be reassigned to them. P.S. It has come to our attention that you have recently requested permission to continue with your own research. The decision on whether or not such permission will be granted depends on the results of this assignment. Your success, therefore, has a bearing on your scientific reputation and your further academic career. Professor Tellman. So there's 12 days in the game. We're currently on day 7, so we're like halfway through so far. Can I close this? Yes. The body's isolated. Bachelor. The body has been isolated as far as I know. Ruben conducts an examination of it. Nevertheless, keeping in mind your discovery, I would advise you to see me in the rot first thing tomorrow morning. There's a matter of crucial importance that we need to discuss. Alexander Saburov. So is this how you're supposed to find out about all the plot events that start off each day? A letter from a colleague in Thanatica. Daniil, I'm writing this in a hurry, so do forgive the uncustomary brevity. The powers that be are closing in on us. They persecuted us before, as you know, but now they are set to utterly exterminate us. We may yet be able to persevere, but you, my friend, are in grave danger. It is almost as if your destination was chosen to be the place of your burial. They say there is some kind of disease in the town, of a most lethal variety, perhaps the plague itself. I have little doubt that the powers that be have set up your whole journey. Tellman, that vermin, wants to get rid of you more than he wants to cease the outbreak. I wouldn't be surprised if it transpires that there are no medical personnel whatsoever in that town. Yeah, about that. They'll use it as a pretext to delegate the whole mess of it to you. If this is the case, I urge you to keep out of trouble. Stay safe, Daniil. Wait for the sanitary teams. They will arrive sooner or later. Take care, my friend. If they tell you to engage the plague by yourself, refuse it, even if your principals enjoin you to do otherwise. Our research is what matters the most, and we will not be able to go on with it if you are dead. Yours, A. Don't know who A is, but a colleague in Thanatica. And this is from Isidore Barak. My dear Bachelor Didenkovsky, it was most disconcerting to learn that the powers that be have the intention of shutting down the laboratory that owes its fame largely to your own research in the field of thanatology. Is it true your detractors have branded your studies as scientifically stillborn? Rejoice, Bachelor, for there is an observable case that would quell the obscurance that reject the research of death, aging, and necrosis as a subject that lacks academic viability. This case, were you to document it, would go a long way towards restoring your reputation as a scholar. So does it go like newest to oldest in each day of our letters? So we know now what's up with this one. The subject in question is Simon Kane, who has ruled the town where I live, for as long as I can remember. This man's longevity transcends the boundaries of what is plausible. It is phenomenal, no less, and I struggle to give an explanation of it with what scientific means I have at my disposal. Make no delay. There is a sensational discovery to be made here, a breakthrough that will not only save your laboratory, but also revivify your studies and greatly increase your scientific renown. Your humble servant and faithful colleague, Isidore Brock. P.S. I spoke to Simon on your behalf, and he has kindly agreed to facilitate your effort. Daring ideas and far-fetched projects are traditionally well respected in our neck of the woods. So that's day one. That's okay. I think we so far know a fair bit from what's going on there. Okay, day 2. Sabraw's morning note. I'll read them bottom to top this time. No, let's not. You know what? It's just easier this way. The evening letter from the powers that be, day 2. To facilitate your assignment, we will be sending a special train carrying medicine, sanitary equipment, and personnel. We expect the train to arrive in 4 days. The Inquisitor, allegedly Mark Kerminsky or Peter Croy, will travel separately. If the sanitary train reaches the town before the Inquisitor, the personnel and equipment therein will be yours to manage. The person in charge of the sanitary expedition will be duly instructed to collaborate. We hope that by the time you will have exhaustive information as to what the nature of the disease is. Sit on behalf of the manipulatory laboratory. Laura Velson. Invitation. That's, her subplot thing, which I'm not doing. I've heard of your discovery. I believe in you. Because of this, I need to make some urgent household arrangements. Please come to the shelter as soon as possible. The prices are rising over the hour. We need to hurry. Yours, Laura Ravel. Sabraw's morning note. Bachelor. As I've already informed you, I have a request to make. It is a matter of utmost importance. I will elaborate on the situation in detail as soon as you come to see me in the Rod. In the event you consider our request to be outside your area of responsibility, I will have to contact someone else with this. However, there is little doubt in my mind that the incompetence of the volunteers I would recruit will result in them losing their lives. Alexander. Very subtle there. 3. Evening letters from the powers that be, day 3. Insofar as the victory over the enemy is comparable to learning its nature, we see you as our champion as well as our scholar. I think it would be appropriate to inform you of the conditions of your victory. We hope you appreciate that the disease is nothing more than an unfortunate coincidence. You should treat this as a basis for your research, for if the outbreak is entirely accidental, as the lack of any outside influence on the town suggests, then it should be comparatively easy to handle. Avoid multiplying casualties, seek an answer in unorthodox methodologies. The cause of the outbreak is not of fundamentally familiar nature, so you may need an adventure of sorts to remove it. Confidential notation written on your recommendation sent for approval. The annotation for patrolmen, couriers, executors, and sanitary personnel. In order to prevent panic, this annotation is classified and its contents should be under no circumstances disclosed to the civilian population. The disease is incurable. There is no vaccine, neither here nor in the capital. However, there are a few positive facts. Number 1. The probability of contracting the disease is significantly lower for someone who has taken immune system stimulants. As of now, we believe that A pills and B pills, yellow-colored and blue-colored pills respectively, provide the best protective effect. Excessive doses of these medicaments may be detrimental to one's health. 2. Additional protection is afforded by synthetic clothing. Woolen garments are strictly off limits. As parasites, clothing should be changed as often as possible. Important. The disease develops sporadically. At its initial stage, it does not progress in any significant way, especially if antibiotics are taken. However, if contact with the infection reoccurs, the development of the disease becomes extremely rapid. Number 4. The disease is not transmitted by means of droplet infection. As of now, we're yet to find out how it is contracted. Preliminary tests suggest that the disease is not contagious at early stages. Therefore, there is no need to isolate the sick person immediately after the presence of the symptoms. appropriate to the executors. In consideration of your particular line of work, we believe that you will not be able to avoid infection. If you have contracted the disease, do not give in to despair. It would have happened sooner or later anyways. Try your best to conserve the infection at its initial stage. Take antibiotic medicine. Consider using the schmouters. They are extremely dangerous, but they help curb the infection. Epidemic. Write down your recommendation, sent for approval. The address to the townspeople. Attention all citizens. Following the outbreak of a lethal disease commonly known as sand plague, sand pest, and sand dirt, the town authorities hereby declare state of emergency. The disease is extremely contagious. There is still ongoing research as to how the disease is transmitted, but cases of contact and droplet infection have been confirmed. There are currently no vaccine solutions in town, and none are expected before the regular train arrives. Please be extra careful. The townspeople are forbidden to leave their homes unless under special instruction. Remember, the possibility of infections is much lower for those who stay indoors. The citizens are advised to sterilize their household wares, boil their clothing, and exterminate as many vermin as possible. Do not panic. Medics, couriers, and executors will take care of mail delivery, as well as the distribution of drinking water, provisions, and medicine. Requests should be written down and slid under the door for couriers to collect. This address was compiled on the instructions of Bachelor Jankowski and ratified by the State of Emergency Town Governor Alexander Sabarov. It is compulsory to follow every advice herein. And finally, we've got Ruben's letter. This is day 3. We need to plan the battle in advance, the battle being the task that lies ahead of us. I will not give up without a fight, even if everyone else has come to terms with their own morality. We need to join our forces, Bachelor, and combine our diverse skills. Our enemy is invisible, ubiquitous, dissolved into the very things we will need to purify. The enemy seems invulnerable, but is not imperceptible, and whatever terror it instills in us explains simply by our lack of knowledge. If we are to destroy the enemy, we need to study it first. For this, we need to capture it. This is our first and foremost priority. Please forgive my reiteration of self-evident things like this. My only reason for spelling it all out is to understand it myself better. Our goals are not quite the same. Let's try to save as many lives as possible where your purpose is to put an end to the outbreak. I have been told of your abiding desire to uncover the truth. I would gladly help you with that, if you would help me achieve my goal. Together we can eradicate the disease and save everything that might still be saved. Stock Ruben. P.S. You'll find me at my secret sectorium in the warehouses district. The map is on the reverse of this letter. Okay, Ruby, yeah, we missed so much. I just want to check. So we got 4, 3, 4, 5, 4. I'm trying to split it up into even parts, roughly even parts. I think we'll do day 4 here. And then we've got a lot to read for next. Alright, day 4. The evening letter from the powers that be, day 4. We have been informed that you have composed a set of instructions to the civilians and initiated the preparation of the town to combat the epidemic. You have ordered the establishment of a hospital and an isolation ward, and are working on setting up other institutions, the morgue to name one, that the town was previously lacking. These decisions place you in the context of high responsibility. No longer an army of one, you have decided to mobilize the population to fight the disease alongside you, since your personal accomplishments were not enough. We expect that the measures you have taken are temporary. Speaking of what might be described as the microclimate of the town, we don't want any irreversible changes to take place. In particular, we hope that the instructions you have issued would not lead to any undesirable moods among the local townsfolk. We would rather avoid mass psychosis, depression, or panic that are sometimes characteristic of situations like this. Keep in mind that when we offered to cease the persecution of your laboratory and to facilitate your research, we meant that as a reward for you being able to find a surgically precise solution to the problem. It is of no importance to us if you do it yourself or instigate the Inquisitor to do it on your behalf. Okay, we got this letter because I failed to save, whatever his name is, Peter Stompton. The following of the bound, fallen ill. So I should not get this letter, I think. The following sanitary precautions are hereby announced. There are citizens, so-called bound, who seem to be extraordinarily involved in town happenings. They are regularly contacted by people with different lines of occupation and social standing, including your 2 colleagues. They also try to compensate what they believe to be your inaction with their own efforts. In consideration of that, the Executive Committee has decided. If a bound person falls ill, the door to their home should be guarded by an executor. While the bound person remains conscious, the executor should collect mail deliveries from them and pass them over to the provisions and medicaments delivered by the couriers. In exceptional cases, it is allowed to visit the patient. To enable communication with the bound person, the executor should resort to a higher efficiency antibiotic medicine, ferromycinum. Can I get my hands on that? Vaccines, serums, and all other solutions should be administered, if available, in the same manner as all the above. Executor's Committee. Vlad the Younger's invitation. The Olgimsky, I've been saying it Oglimsky this entire time, it's Olgimsky. The Olgimsky family continues to spare no effort assisting with the epidemic situation. As you can probably remember, we've been put in charge of providing the equipment and medical supplies that can be of use under current circumstances. I have personally endeavored to requisition the latter, specifically antibiotics and immunity boosters. Eva, Yulia, Lara, and Anna assisted me with acquiring remedies and sorting them into categories. If I'm not mistaken, you have already made these ladies' acquaintance. I've been told of your order to run medical supply tests. Slightly puzzled though I were, I still assigned the aforementioned ladies to find volunteer test subjects. Kindest regards, Vlad the Younger. Alexander Sabarov's invitation. Bachelor. A detachment of our volunteers were ambushed and massacred by a band of armed marauders. Did I get... Hold on. Like, cause on day 5, I think, there was that thing where I took money from, the one Kane, I forget his, Victor Kane, to free those people who were falsely accused of attacking people. Did that happen because I didn't do this side quest here? Maybe. Yeah. If you have any information at all with regard to the so-called barbers, I request that you pass it to me without further delay. It is imperative that we put an end to this criminal syndicate as soon as possible. I would also like to inform you that in order to fight the criminal spree of robbers and looters, I had no other choice but to withdraw significant numbers of patrolmen whose previous orders were to cordon off the infected districts, Alexander. So essentially, yeah, he's holding that kind of hostage in a way. Vlad Olgimsky's report on sanitary precautions. Dr. Dunkovsky. As of today, we are ready to provide you with the premises where you will be able to establish a hospital, an isolation ward, and a morgue. Please see me at the Hump to discuss further details. Vlad the Heavy. It's an interesting adjective to give yourself, but yeah. So this is actually going to take 2 videos. That's kind of to be expected, but we'll go ahead and read the other letters tomorrow. And it seems clearer and clearer that we're going to have to restart this game again from the very beginning. So at this point, I may as well just, yeah, not worry about things until we get to the end and get as much information to work with as possible. But for now, we will call it here. Thank you for watching.